Zidane Daney, Electro Ninja here, and welcome back to Nerd Chat here on Electro Ninja's Lab. I am here with my fellow host,
I'm Jack.
and Joker is not currently here, but he might join us later. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Um, there's not really much going on right now, so we thought we would talk a little bit about um the Switch 2, specifically like games that have yet to be announced, but most likely they might be coming sooner rather than later, including like Pokemon, because while ZA is obviously coming out this year, there's a pretty good chance that we're going to be getting Gen 10, whatever game that's going to be, in about a year later, because we are approaching the 30th anniversary, which that's insane to think about, that we're so close to the 30th anniversary. Um, I that just yeah, like obviously this year is the 29th, and then next year is the 30th, which in the past they have for the big games they have done like the um 20 years was X no, that wasn't X and Y, that was what was that, what game was that? I'm forgetting.
My game was what?
What game was for the 20th anniversary?
I believe
I feel like it might have been a Lola.
that was 2016.
I think so. Right? Yeah, so it would have been 2016. So yeah, I think Alola. So the Alola games came out, the first Alola games. Um, so that's what we got last time. But we're approaching Gen 10. And I feel like because of the fact that it is gonna be Gen 10, it's gonna be the 30th anniversary releasing. That would be There's got to be something big. They're gonna do something massive. Like, could you imagine for Gen 10 being not only it being the 30th anniversary, but also maybe exactly 10 times the number of Pokemon as when they first started. So maybe they're being 1,510 Pokemon. Granted, that would be a lot of Pokemon to suddenly bring out, but because we just reached 1,000, um, so it most likely wouldn't get to. They probably wouldn't do 500 new Pokemon right off the bat, but
Oh, most definitely not.
yeah. So it would be a challenge to actually do that, but that would be incredible if they actually did that. That would be I don't think they will, but for the 30th anniversary, for the 10-year or the 10th generation, I don't know. Something I feel like they're gonna do something big. Especially because of the fact that they did take an extra amount of time to do ZA. Part of me wonders if maybe they're planning to they're taking a lot of the information that they're getting from ZA, and it's also going to be a part of the whole situation with Gen 10, because that is going to be on the Switch 2. No matter what it is, it's going to just be on the Switch 2. So it could be like a absolutely massive game. Um, Personally, I'd be thrilled if it was like um, you actually were able to maybe you can go to every single region. I highly doubt that, but it would be cool. Um,
That would be kind of awesome.
that would be so fun. I highly doubt that they're going to do something that big, but it would be cool. I think it would be really cool. Um, I don't know. It's hard to say. Um, and I imagine that Pokemon, because they're so Game Freak is so directly connected to Nintendo, they've probably had access to the to making sure that there's whatever's going to be on the Switch too. They've probably had access to that for years now. especially considering the fact that ZA is going to be on both systems. But I don't know. It's hard to say. I would love for them to have every single gimmick. So obviously Mega Evolution, Gigantamax, Terastallization, Z Crystals. I know that Z Crystals are not super popular, but at the same time, it would be fun. It would be very fun to see that. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say. So yeah. Also, well, let's kind of switch topics, I guess. Frickin' Animal Crossing. So we had Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Switch too, for the original Switch, and they stopped. I think about a year later, they stopped development for the game. It might have been a little bit less than that. It might have been a little bit more. But about a year later, they stopped development for it. So part of me wonders if, in that entire time, from when they stopped development of New Horizons, they then switched over to whatever the next Animal Crossing game is. And I have a feeling that they might do something where it will be a lot of really big stuff for it, because taking obviously all of the mechanics that they learned how to do in New Horizons, and maybe they'll do like an entire city or something like that. I think that would it would probably take way too much effort to actually do that, but my thinking with it is that they could then take you could have way more of the cast. A lot more of the villagers could be in that Animal Crossing, and you wouldn't be relegated to, what is it, 10 villagers on your island. Like, I think, granted, I think you could have way more. You could do a lot more villagers with the Happy Home Designer or whatever it is. And but those are very small area. Those are like, each villager has like their own designated area, with I think up to 2 villagers being in those. So I don't know. That's a complicated situation with that. But I don't know. I think that with the hardware that we're seeing with the Switch 2, they could absolutely do something along those lines where it's a much more complex and interesting system. I don't think that they're necessarily going to do like an actual city, but they might do something of similar status. Maybe you're able to like set up a farm that is like full way more in depth than what it was in near the end of Animal Crossing, near the end of New Horizons. Maybe there's way more crops. Maybe there's a whole bunch of things like that. Maybe you'll be there'll be new bugs, there'll be new fish, you'll be diving, and maybe with the diving, you'll actually be able to completely control your character under the water. Maybe they'll actually allow you to fully control the camera, because currently there is some control over it, but you're basically always looking in the same direction, unless
I would love that.
Yeah. So, yeah, imagine like being able to turn your camera all the way around. Like, technically, I think that should be a thing that they do even for this one, but they just decided not to. With New Horizons, because it's always been like the way that it has been. But I would love to be able to like fully look around. They did have some ability to look around, because if you went into like your camera mode, then you were able to look around. But yeah. So that was one thing, but you weren't able to fully control the camera. Maybe you could then have houses looking north, or looking to the west, or looking to the east, rather than always looking south. I don't know. That's just something to think about. I think another important detail is all of the concepts that they could do with the mouse system. Because there's a lot you can do with a mouse that you really can't do with a controller.
That's true. That's a lot of the things you can do, especially since it's got like Happy Home and all that.
Yeah, like I'm not really certain exactly how it's gonna. I'm worried about the scrolling. Like if you decide that you want to scroll on your controller, I'm assuming that if like because obviously a lot of games have a scrolling functionality with where you can zoom in and zoom out. I'm wondering if they're going to do something with that where you'll basically rotate your joystick and that will zoom you out or zoom you in, depending on which direction you're going. It's really hard to know exactly how that's going to feel as well, considering the fact that the Joy-Cons are going to be bigger than what they currently are. But like for me, I'm currently trying to hold my Joy-Con like a mouse, and it's just like it's really challenging because I've got pretty big hands. So I don't know. I'm hoping that
the Joy-Cons in general right now are kind of small for guys with big hands.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see exactly how that's going to play out. I'm really hoping that the fact that they are doing mice, that they are allowing them to be mice, is going to be like hints that, hey, you can use your mouse. You'll be able to play mouse-based games, like say, Final Fantasy XIV. I think that's a pretty big game that I'm thinking they might do because, I think I told you they've been in talks. Final Fantasy has said multiple times that they've been in talks with Nintendo about getting it onto the console. A lot of their concerns are basically along the lines of how powerful the console is, and how exactly they would handle the controls, and there's a lot of things with it. But to me, it seems like what they're doing with the Switch controllers will allow for a lot more ability to do that. I think that one thing that they might do is that there should be a USB controller, or there should be USB ports on the back of the system when it's in dock mode. So that should be those should allow you to then use a mouse, a keyboard, and then you'd be able to play like Final Fantasy XIV using any mouse or keyboard that you have. I don't know if they're going to do that, but that would be really helpful if they end up doing that. Even if it's just one port, then you can connect a keyboard and then use your the Joy-Cons as the mice. Hopefully it's not too challenging. I'm also hoping that maybe you'll be able to actually access websites or something on the Switch 2, because currently I don't think you can at all. You might be able to, because I don't think they have any browser compared to like a lot of other consoles do have their own browser. Let's see here. Yeah, the Switch doesn't have a browser, I don't think. Yeah, but like the PlayStation, both PlayStations have a browser involved in them, like since the PS4. Actually, I think since the PS3 they've had a browser. I don't know exactly about the Xbox, but I think that with the mice, that's going to be a much more likely thing. That you'll actually be able to access the internet more fully. I think that they'll probably limit it severely because people are not going to be. They don't want. Obviously, they've got to put in parental controls and all that jazz, so that kids aren't like searching up all sorts of weird shit. Yay. I don't know. But yeah. Are you just tired? Is that why you're not talking that much? Oh, you're muted again.
I was using the bathroom.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think they'll do with that?
It's hard to say, really.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard for me to predict what they're gonna do.
Yeah, that's fair. Are there any games that you would really want to see pop up on the Switch? Maybe like whether it be like a sequel to an older game to an older game of pretty much anywhere, or maybe something that already exists on the PlayStations or the Xboxes that you would want to see on the Switch.
Disney Universe. It was on the Wii.
You've said that so many times.
And I'm gonna keep saying it until I fucking get it.
Fair. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. They're. I think Disney is like completely going in a different direction now, so that's part of the reason why it hasn't happened. But I don't know. We'll see. Also, how do you feel about the price of the Switch, as well as for frickin' Mario, because of how expensive Mario itself being so expensive is insane to me.
Agreed. Same.
Yeah, it should not be $80. I'm sorry. What in the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, that does not make any sense.
Yeah, like I'm fine with the console itself being $450 and then with Mario being $500. That's not the worst thing in the world. I think that's reasonable. I think that's kind of reasonable. But when it comes to the but the fact that it's $80 just for that's just why. Like I understand like granted Mario Kart I think deluxe 8 Deluxe that was like $60, right? I think it still is.
I think so, yeah.
Here, let me check on Amazon because that's my most chance. There we go. Amazon. Okay. What was it? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There we go. Yeah. Well, it's currently $50 bucks. About. So it's gotten cheaper. But it was $60. I remember that. I remember that much. That it was $60 when it first came out. So it has gone down in price. That's nice. So with the fact that it is like in the 50s right now, it does lead me to think that they will probably do like that would make sense. A lot of the problem, my biggest problem with it being $80 is that is going to be saying to other companies, hey, we can make our games be $80, $90, $100 for any game for whatever our game is. Like, one thing I will say right now is if after like I'm planning to get the version of the Switch that is going to come the bundle. I'm going to get the bundle. If that can seems reasonable by if I like as I play Mario Kart World if at that point it seems reasonable, then hopefully that might lead people to understand, oh, okay, that's why it actually makes sense. But if it doesn't, it's a bad precedent. It's a really bad precedent.
It is.
Because a lot of games are going to go up to that price. And that's terrifying. I don't know. It's concerning. I think like freaking some people have been saying things like the new freaking whatchamadoodle GTA game, the new GTA game. They're saying that is gonna be $100 or something like that, which is also bad. That is very bad. There is no way that it should be that much. Let me see here. GTA game. Yeah, GTA 6. That is, I've heard that that's gonna be expensive as fuck. Yeah. Let's do it. I don't think they've have they announced it? No. Okay. How much will it cost? Yeah. So they're saying right now that the standard edition is gonna be between $70 and $90 for GTA 6.
That's crazy.
It's insane. That's like the speculation right now, is that people are thinking that is what it's going to be, and I can't imagine that. Like, granted, inflation's a bitch, and there are a lot of things going on right now especially in America, where that is where it's kind of starting to make sense because all this fuckery. But I think that if that ends up being the price, it's going to be bad for a lot of things, for a lot of the world. I think, based off what I'm seeing when it comes to the prices of the Switch 2, currently, this is a big currently, the prices are not going up. So thank goodness for that. But the add-ons, like
that's good.
The Switch camera, the extra Joy-Cons, the bag, the carrying bag, all of these things, those are going up in price. Anywhere from like $1 to like $5 is what most of them are going up. There's very little reason for most people to buy most of those add-ons, but I think that's the reason why those are going up in price, but not the console itself. They're seeing all of the stuff that's going on, and they are probably trying to use the Switch itself, as well as the Switch 2 itself, as well as Mario Kart, as basically being a loss leader to then get people to buy those other things. Because they're probably honestly, if the tariffs come back with the way that they were going to be, it's going to be possible. Could be as much as an extra $200, give or take, for the console, if things, depending on what they do. Like I said, depending on what they do. There's a lot of things with that are really freaking challenging to be certain on. But, yeah. If the tariffs come back, it could go up another $200. So, that's why I'm planning on purchasing it as soon as possible. And right now, it might be a loss leader. The Switch 2 itself might be a loss leader. They might be losing a little bit of money because of the tariffs. considering the fact that they are keeping it at the current price, and they're going to try to keep it there so that I think the reason why it's so expensive right now is to kind of at least try to prevent,
Scalpers.
scalpers, especially here in America. And scalpers are bad. Let's be very clear on that. Scalpers are bad. If you are a scalper, you are a piece of shit, and I do not apologize ever for calling you a piece of shit. If please do not purchase something from a scalper because you're just showing them that hey, they're winning. So do not fall to scalpers, whatever you do.
Agreed.
Yeah. But yeah. So so whatever is gonna happen, hopefully it all goes smoothly. I personally am going to go on the day, like first thing in the morning. I am going to my local game store and setting up my pre-order the day that it opens. Getting it in place, saying, "Hey, I want to pre-order the new the Switch 2 with Mario Kart. Please I want to get this taken care of as soon as possible." And granted, it's going to be a lot of money, but I would rather set that up and get cleared away so it is at its price. I have taken care of it. It is done. Blah 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 blah. All taken care of before this chaos happens, because yeah, who knows where things are going to get going from here on out. But yeah, chaos is ensuing.
As per usual.
As per fucking usual. But yeah, I am hopeful that whatever games that they are going to be coming out with, and that another thing with this is that concerns me is that I think part of the reason that they are doing so few games on the Switch 2 to start off with, because right now it's going to be one game, or it's just going to be Mario Kart to start off with, as well as like obviously you can get the enhanced versions of games. So I think that the reason that they're doing that, the reason that they're starting at that is to basically they're seeing what's going on here in America, and they don't want to risk it. They don't want they want to be very cautious with how things are going, and I wish that that this video wasn't being so political, but unfortunately with the way that things are going, it's like I'm trying my hardest not to go but it's dangerous. It's complicated. It's very fucking complicated. But yeah, I will say this: I am hoping that with the Switch 2, that they're going to bring in a lot of cool games that have been on other consoles for a little while now. I think that anything that was on PS4 is reasonable. A lot of people have been saying that anything that was on the PS4 will likely be coming to Switch. If it's something that is going to like all of the different consoles, PS4, Xbox One, any games that were on there will likely be coming to the Switch too. So any games that you wanted to play at that point, I think that the Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, those likely will be coming to the Switch too. Obviously, Elden Ring is coming to the Switch too. I think that Elden Ring is the big one that is just like really throwing me for a loop, because that could technically mean that any PS5 game, like not necessarily any PS5 game, because the Elden Ring was available both on the PS4 and the PS5, so it could be on the. It could mean that any PS5 games could be coming. But at this point, we don't know. I think there's a reasonable assumption that Marvel Rivals will be coming to the Switch too.
That would be nice. I'd like to play that.
Yeah, and it's a free-to-play game. So if getting this, obviously getting the Switch 2, and then playing Marvel Rivals with your friends who have already, some of them have already been playing. Like if you guys get the Switch 2 and Marvel Rivals comes like really quickly onto there, we could all finally play together. Like I'm thinking of at least having an account on the Switch 2 as well, if it does end up going there. But I'm mostly going to be playing on the PS5, because that's currently where I've
Do you
got
think
most
it's going to
of
be
my stuff.
cross-platform like Fortnite is?
Yes. People are already playing with. Since I play on the PS5, the Xbox. I do see people playing on Xbox. I do see people playing on their computers. Same thing goes when I play on the computer. I can see people playing on the PS5, on the Xbox Series, and so it is going to be cross-platform. So that's going to be fantastic. I might go with every now and again. I think I might play on the Switch too, but I'm not going to be like. That's going to be for like when I'm like wanting to play. If the three of us want to play competitive or something, because then I know for a fact that I'm not going to be like massively above you guys or whatever. While on the PS5, yeah. I sometimes I might end up being way higher level than you guys on the in competitive, depending on things. I'm not certain on that. Let me be very clear. I'm not certain on whether or not I will be above you guys by that point. But I think by that point. I don't know I think since it is coming out in June, let's see here. So we just got the new season of that, and those they last 3 months. So
the season lasts 3 months?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Approximately. For Marvel Rivals. So with that, when the Switch 2 comes out, it will be like at the tail end of the current season. So I think that they will probably wait to to put it into the game to give you guys to give the Switch bring the Switch into it until the next season starts. It might be like, hey, season 3 or what? Yeah, I think it's season 3 is the next one. Yeah, season 3. Hey, season 3 is coming. And with it, the Switch 2 is getting Marvel Rivals. They might.
That would be a good gimmick.
It would be a good gimmick. There is a possibility that they might do a special zero season for Switch players. Because that way they can kind of get used to the game beforehand, and then they'll actually play through it and all that jazz. I'm not certain. I have no idea. I'm not a game developer. I just play a lot of games. Also, when is Tales of the Shire? Tales of the Shire is coming out soon as well.
I've heard mixed things about that.
Huh?
I've heard mixed things about that.
Yeah. There's so much weird shit going on with that, and it's just, I don't know.
It is very strange.
Yeah. So that's supposed to be coming out in July. So that might release on the Switch 2 with its release. And that kind of leads me to wonder if maybe that was the reason that they delayed it so much. Like they wanted it to be. Maybe they were in talks with Nintendo and being like, "Hey, we like this. We're having fun. We're nearly ready for this for the game to release. We have like a few things that need to be fixed. Blah 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 blah." And then they realized, oh, this could go to the Switch too. Why not delay a little bit after the Switch, so that obviously people can play the game and all that jazz. People can get their Switches, all that jazz. And then when July comes about, hey, here's Tales of the Shire. The first cozy, maybe it will be the first cozy game on the Switch too. Well, no, wait. Yes, it would be the first cozy game on the Switch, I think. Because I don't.
That's crazy. It would be the first cozy game.
Yeah, I think so. I could be wrong about that. When is Stories of Seasons coming out? That's in August. So yeah, Stories of Seasons Grand Bazaar. That would so if Tales of the Shire comes out first, then that would be the first official Nintendo Switch game that would be on the that would be the first Switch 2 game that would start on the Switch, that would start on the Switch 2. That would be a cozy game. Obviously, you can play every cozy game that currently exists on the Switch 2. Whether that be obviously
Stardew
Animal
Valley.
Crossing, Stardew Valley, all of them. All of them are available to play. It will be immediately available to play on the Switch 2. I don't think any of them are getting bonuses or getting upgrades. I don't think that they revealed that. Any of them were getting upgrades. I think that currently it's just like Zelda is getting upgrades. I know some other games are getting upgrades. I don't know which ones they are, but most of them are pretty. They're games that we have, so most of them, I think. So there's a good possibility that when it comes out, when Tales of the Shire comes out, it will probably be on the Switch 2. If it's not on the Switch 2, you'll still be able to play it on the Switch 2. It's just obviously and I'm it may be a Switch 2 immediate. It might be just a Switch game, and then you'll be able to play it on both. But I don't know. It's hard to say for that, because it's taking so freaking long for this game to come out. But also another interesting detail is that the 25th. What is it? What Final Fantasy 9? Yeah. So the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy 9 is in June.
Oh, really?
Or no, sorry, it's in July. Sorry, I was wrong. It's in July. Right? I'm making 100% certain because I want to make sure that I'm accurately reading this. Yes. Okay. So it came out in July, July 7th. Before that was of 2020, or sorry, 2000. July 7th of 2000. That is when the 25th anniversary. So we are getting so July 7th is the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy 9. They are already prepping for a Final Fantasy 9. They've been putting out a whole bunch of stuff recently about Final Fantasy 9. And like if you go to the Final Fantasy or the Square Enix store, they currently have a whole section dedicated to Final Fantasy 9 for the 25th anniversary.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I'm really excited. Unfortunately, the vinyl is sold out, and I didn't buy it immediately, so I'm going to. Yeah, that drives me crazy. I will probably buy it as soon as it becomes available again. So it's sold out for its pre-orders, which really is annoying. Please, Square, if you're listening to this, please, I need a Final Fantasy 9 anniversary vinyl, please. But yeah, so that's coming out. They're doing all sorts of stuff. So this is a lot that they're doing for Final Fantasy 9. It's basically the same level that they did for the Final Fantasy 7 25th anniversary, which was a few years ago. And that was basically around the time that they revealed. I think it might have been the same year that they did release the Final Fantasy VII Remake. And people have been basically talking all over the internet that Final Fantasy IX is going to get a remake. So it would not surprise me if soon we get Final Fantasy IX remake. What exactly that will be, I don't know. I am hoping it is not going to be much different. I think that there is a reasonable chance that it could be slightly different. Because obviously in the original game they have pretty big heads. Whenever you're dealing with like they seem to have downsized their heads a bit, just a little bit, for like the figures that they've created. So I don't know. I have no idea. I'm hoping that they're going to be doing something really cool with that. Because I love Final Fantasy IX so much. I really want them to do a big thing with that. If that goes on the Switch too, I will 100% be buying that. So that is shortly after the release of the Switch 2 is going to be there's a good chance that Final Fantasy IX might get reveal that the remake is coming. Because we do know there's like been hints for like so long that they're doing something with it. Whether it be a remaster or a remake, I don't care. I want to play it again. I want to play it. Especially my big thing. I would love to have it be voice acted. Also, Square, hey, call me. I would love to play one of the characters. I know it's probably too late, but yeah, I love Final Fantasy IX so much. It's near and dear to my heart.
It's pretty fun.
It's a lot of fun. And you're still pretty early, right?
Yeah, I haven't gotten any further.
So you're still in the you still haven't gotten past the ice cavern?
Nope.
Jeez. We may need to figure out how to get you past that. Because yeah, if you're past level 10 now, right?
On some, not everyone. I think Zidane is level 10.
Jeez.
And maybe Steiner.
Yeah. I'm level 8 and I'm like freaking in I've made it all the way to freaking I've made it to the point where you get Quana, however you want to pronounce their name.
Well, good for you.
So, like, granted, I'm probably a little bit under-leveled, but yeah, so I think that it shouldn't be, I don't know. We'll maybe we'll discuss this after stream, and figure out how to get you past that. But, yeah. So yeah, so most likely we'll be getting Final Fantasy 9, something about Final Fantasy 9 soon. Whatever they're going to do with that remake or whatever remaster, whatever they're doing. Hopefully it's going to be soon. But I'm excited. I'm excited for that. There's a lot that has yet to be revealed, and I think like part of that is there's a lot of different reasons for why I think that things are relatively quiet. And I think that the biggest reason is Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy 15. So Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15 were vastly hated. They were hated so much, primarily because they were delayed so much. They kept getting delayed. They kept having issues. We knew about them way in advance. And I think because of that, Square Enix and I think the gaming industry at large kind of realized, okay, we cannot reveal games too early. We cannot make announcements. We cannot reveal things. Another example of what was really badly accepted was really poorly taken was No Man's Sky. When it first came out, it was really bad. It was not great. It was really bad. But since then, they've gotten it a lot better. They've made significant improvements.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've played it, if you've looked into any of this information, but it's a really interesting story. I think that if you haven't yet, Internet Historian actually did a video on it. Huh?
Which game?
No Man's Sky.
Oh, I have not.
Okay. Yeah. Internet Historian did a video on that, and that's a great example. And I think that because of that, because of what happened with that, what happened with Kingdom Hearts, what happened with Final Fantasy 15 specifically, a lot of game companies are basically rolling back, trying to not reveal as much information, and they're revealing games much closer to their release, or if they have already revealed their games, they are waiting, only doing trailers for a while. But anyways, that's a lot of stuff. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I think that that's probably a good spot for us to end. What do you think? Probably, because he muted, and I heard something going on. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Jack has been here, Joker was not, and we will see you guys next time. But on